All right, let's go ahead and get started. We are continuing on the topic of just listed, just solds, and we're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off from yesterday. So, if anybody has any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask away. For those of you that are joining us, as usual, on YouTube, Instagram, thank you for joining us. I'm going to encourage you, also, those of you that are joining us on Facebook, to come join us on Zoom. I'm going to be sharing the scripts here in just a little bit on what we say for just listed, just solds, and how we can, of course, capture more business. So let me go ahead and jump into some of the notes that I was talking about the last couple of days. I won't spend too much time on that because I want to continue to move forward. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask away. Just jump right on in. Now, the first thing is we talked about memorizing and internalizing. You've got to remember that. That's really an important part to this entire process. The reason why agents hate scripts is because you don't have them internalized. What's the difference between with what are three levels that I talk about? One of them is reading them, which is 90% of the realtors. Some of you will memorize it, which will probably be about another six, seven, maybe 8% of them. But and then there's only going to be one, two, maybe 3% of you. So congratulations for those of you that do internalize them, and that's where you get results. Okay, and let me share with you in a sense the difference between being on a script. You're on the phone, you're for the very first time, you're prospecting, and you have the script in front of you. And Robert says to just use the scripts. My coach says to use the scripts. My broker says to use the scripts, and you jump in. And as you're calling, you make the call. Hi, Bob. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor with ABC Company. I just listed a home for sale over around the corner from you on Banana Street. It has four bedrooms, two baths, and it's listed at 500,000. I was curious, who do you know that would like to move into our neighborhood? That's what 90% of you do. And what do you guys get? You get, why are you calling me? Take me off the list. My goodness. All of this stuff. And you get hung up on. Yeah, these scripts don't work. You're right. They don't. Not based on that standard. And some of you will take the time, you'll start to memorize it, and you get a little bit better, you get a little bit stronger, and you find yourself in a position where you have, okay, I'm confident. I've been working on this. I've been doing this now for a month. I've been doing this for 2 months, and I think I have it down. Okay, ring, ring. Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. I'm calling you because I just listed a home for sale over on Banana Street. It's a four-bedroom, two-bath home, and we listed it for 500,000. And I was wondering, who do you know that wants to move here into our neighborhood? Cool, awesome. You'd have to look at the script. Was that any better? Maybe a little bit better. And again, that's about 96, 97% of you. Yeah, these scripts suck. They don't work. You're right. Again, you got to get to the point where you internalize them. The internalization is as I call you at 2 o'clock in the morning and I say, okay, Robert, use the script. Okay. All right. Hi, Bob. Bob, hi. This is Robert. I'm a local realtor. Yeah, I just listed a property for sale. It's right around the corner from you, not too far. It's about 2 blocks north of you on Banana Street. Yeah, beautiful place. It's a four-bedroom, two-bath home. Believe it or not, we just listed it at a great price of 750,000. And Bob, I was just simply wondering, who do you know that wants to move here into our area? The difference between the three of them is on that third one, you're going to get possibly I don't know. I'm not really quite certain. Which property are you calling about again? Where is that? I don't know of anybody. Are you still going to get the take me off the list? Absolutely. Are you still going to get the why are you calling me? Absolutely. But the difference is in that last internalized version of it, you're going to get the occasional, well, we've thought about it. Maybe down the road. We're not ready yet. Maybe possibly when the kids graduate. Maybe when I retire. I might know somebody. I don't know if they're looking for this area. My point is that the window gets opened. So you got to get to the point where you do have it internalized. And as you get it internalized, you find yourself in a position where you're starting to get more and more results. Memorization, you get through the open, you get hung up on 90% of the time. Okay. Or I'm sorry, reading it. Just reading it, you're going to get hung up 90% of the time just reading it. Right? The very, very, very right out the gate. Just the opening. When you memorize it, you might get a question or two down. You might, but you're going to get hung up on again. maybe one out of 100 calls, you might get something of somewhere, some way. I'm thinking about it possibly, hopefully, maybe I can eventually. Okay. But when it comes time to having it internalized, you go through, you have 100 conversations. Here's my guarantee to you: you're going to have 10 people that are going to give you some level of interest. I'm not saying you're going to get 10 appointments. I'm not even saying you're going to get 10 leads. What you're going to get, though, by you having it internalized, is you're going to have 10 people that are going to sit there and say, we've thought about it. Maybe down the road, I mean, what's my home worth? I mean, the interest rates are too high. We would do it, but unfortunately, the property values are just astronomical. Cool. Now those become more of a an objection versus a condition. That's the difference. And it's not until you get there is when you start to get the results. And guess what? That, from the time of reading it to having it internalized, that could take you anywhere from 2 to 3 to even as much as 5 years. Goodness gracious. What? Yeah, I'm right. Okay. I have coaching clients that have been using a script. Coach, it's not working. 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 Coach. Well, I didn't know how to handle this. Good, right there. Okay, let's work on it. What did they tell you? I listen to scripts, I listen to calls, I listen to recordings all day, every day. Okay. And the difference between those that are successful and those that are not successful is a number one, stay within the margins of the script. Okay. What I mean by the margins of the script is that there's question one, there's question two, there's question three. However, the next level is the question between the questions. The question between the questions is going to be focusing on the area of motivation. What do I mean? I'm now going to share the script. And again, for those of you that are joining us on YouTube, those of you that are joining us on Instagram, you got to come join us on Zoom because I can't share the script with you guys on those platforms. Okay, so come join us over on Zoom. So in this, when you get to around this section, I talked about this the last couple of days. I'm going to break this down. The purpose of these questions is for rapport building. Rapport building does not happen because you're sitting there talking about how beautiful their house is. Rapport building doesn't talk about how amazing the curtains are. The rapport building isn't talking about their golf trophy. It's not about their dog. It's not about their cat. Sometimes it is, right? But it's not necessarily about that. The question between the questions: when are you planning on moving? Well, if I could, I would. Was that a no or was that a yes? So I can go on and go, tell me more about that. What do you mean? Well, I just completely despise California. I'm sick and tired of the politics. I hate everything that's going on. I definitely would make a move if I possibly could. Okay. Well, as far as that is concerned, where would you consider moving to? Well, I've toyed with the idea of going to Nevada, maybe Arizona, maybe even Texas. Well, which of those three states would you consider moving to? Well, if anything, probably Texas. I have family there. Okay, well, if you were to make a move to either Nevada or Arizona, what would be the benefit of moving over there? Probably just the politics, just less politics. Okay, so of the three, would it be Texas? Yeah, likely. What part of Texas? Oh, Austin. Oh, okay. What's taking you out there to Austin in specific? Oh, you frequent there. Okay, now you mentioned you had family there. Now, as far as that family is concerned, do they live in Austin? Oh, they don't. They live in Houston. Okay, yeah, that's pretty close. Close enough. I get that. I totally understand. Now, let me ask you, how long have you actually lived at this address? And where did you move from? Now, how'd you happen to pick this area? Now, you mentioned that if you were to make a move, you would consider making that move over to Austin. What would stop you from making that move now? Okay, again, for those of you guys, I'm sharing the scripts over here. So those are the questions between the questions. And do you see between question number one and question number two, I asked about 6, 7 questions? Now, why don't we have the questions between the questions? Because everybody's going to be different. Me talking to somebody who's going to retire is going to be a way different conversation than somebody who just had their first child and moving out of an apartment versus somebody who is looking at investing versus somebody who is now on their fourth and fifth kid trying to get out of a 2-bedroom. They're all different conversations. So you have to be in a position to ask a question at a whim. And as I've prepared and I've equipped most of you that continue to show up, which I do, again, always thank you guys. is you have to have some of these questions at the ready. And what I'm talking about is the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how, and the if. So when you're prospecting, and I'm talking to the people that are, I'm on the phone, I have my computer screen up, and I'm actually sitting here having conversations right next to my computer. I have a list of who, what, when, where, why questions. Okay. I no longer at this very second. Okay. But I would. I would write 3 to 5 who's, 3 to 5 what's, 3 to 5 where's, 3 to 5 when's, 3 to 5 why's, 3 to 5 how's. And I would always pick and just have it to my arsenal. And that would determine, when are you planning on making a move? Oh, I don't live there. That's a rental property. Oh, that's a little bit different. Cool. Well, how long have you owned this rental? Well, I've owned it for 10 years. Is this the only rental that you have now? Or are you looking to add more to your portfolio? Well, I have one other property, but it's a little bit small, and that tenant is absolutely frustrating to work with. Okay, well, how long have you owned that property? What would be the benefit of selling it? How would this impact you and your portfolio if you were to move this money over to another property that could be a little bit better performing? Do you see how that doesn't apply to the average Joe of I'm looking to get a bigger home? So that's why you want to have some of these questions at the ready. Again, what I'm going to encourage you to do is you want to be able to have at least 3 to 5 questions on who, what, when, where, why. And you got to be in a position where you can almost, in a sense, shoot from the hip. If I sat there, which I'll play a game, which I've done before with my coaching clients, I'll go, okay, here we go. We're going to play the who, what, when, where, why. Okay, cool. Who? Who in your family is most interested? Good job. Okay, a little bit cleaner, a little bit better. Who in your family is most excited about making this move? There we go. That's better. Okay. Who in your family is waiting for you when you make this move over to Austin? Okay. Who's going to have the biggest benefit in making this move to Austin, as an example? Oh, tell me a little bit more about your oldest daughter. Okay, got it. So your son and daughter are sharing rooms right now. Oh, that's not very comfortable for 2 teenagers. I understand. So she's super excited. She's super stoked about the idea of getting her own room. Good. When? When would you like to make this move? When would you like to get your first showing? When would you like to be in a position so that we can go ahead and get you cashed out? When would you like to get your closing statement? When would you like to be in a position where we can wire this money over to your funds, or your funds over to your account? So having a handful of these to the ready. Let me go ahead and open it up to the audience. Questions, comments, concerns, anything that I can address. Now we're good. We got it all figured out. I love it.
I love the questions between the questions, Robert.
Sure. Tell me more.
I'm gonna have to steal that.
Yeah. I mean, that's in every, it doesn't matter what script it is. Okay. Because at the end of the day, the reason why these people, nobody wakes up, and I say this all the time, and I know you guys get a little bit sick and tired of it, but nobody wakes up. Nobody woke up this morning, Wednesday, June 11th, and said, you know what, babe, we should sell our house.
Right.
Nobody does that. Okay. Usually what ends up happening is, oh my gosh, like, I don't have any more space. Like, I need a little bit more space. And I'm at a room in the garage. Babe, you're pregnant. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Well, what are we going to do though? Where are we going to put the baby? Are we going to put him in the living room? What are we going to do? Those are the type of things that ends up happening that sparks the interest. Tell me more about that. Okay. And then eventually what ends up happening is after a month, 2 or 3, all of a sudden there's a baby bump. Then now in the second trimester, and then the crib is getting put in. It's like, we can't do this. There's no way we can raise a family in this. So in those questions, Aqua, having those always at the ready is going to be important. Okay, so just simply write down, who, what, when, where, why, and just simply write. And it's always going to be about them. Okay, about them, not about the process. Because when we're talking to people, one of 2 things is what we're targeting. And number 1 is not where we want to focus on, but sometimes we have to. And number 1 is basically logical questions. The problem with logical questions, it gets them to think more. We don't need these people to think more. The way we get them to act more is question number 2, or series of questions number 2, which is emotional questions. And emotional questions will always be based on motivation. Okay. And sometimes the motivation isn't positive. Sometimes the motivation is negative. Motivation is, I don't even know how I'm going to make the next payment. I just, I'm trying to find work. It's been 3 months and I'm already behind 4 months. I was already struggling trying to make the payment. And, we just got our notice of default. Yeah, it's been hard. My significant other passed away about 3 months ago, and I've been trying to make ends meet, and it's just not working anymore. I know it's time. I really want to hold on to this place. There's a lot of memories. We raised a family here. I just can't do it anymore. Okay. So all these things, what I'm getting at is that with the questions between the questions and with what I want to just continue to add value from that perspective is that we have to be prepared because the moment that we go through and start asking the questions to these people, we don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that. We don't know if it's an investor. We don't know if somebody that just lost somebody. We don't know if somebody just got pregnant. We don't know if, they've been wanting to make a move for a while. Okay. So these are the type of things that I want to continue to work on. Okay. So I appreciate that, Aqua. Any other questions, comments, concerns? And again, if you guys are over on Instagram, those of you that are over on YouTube, I'm going to encourage you to come join us over on Zoom. But if you can't, that's okay. Feel free to ask any questions in the chats. I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and do that. And again, I really appreciate you guys continuing to show up and seeing value in this. Any other questions, any other comments? I want to add a couple more points, and then I'd like to squeeze in a little bit more role play as well. So any other questions, comments, concerns, anything else? All right. Let me go ahead and add a couple of points, and then we're going to move back into some of the role play for those of you, again, on Instagram and YouTube, and for that matter, Facebook. Come join us over on Zoom. So we talked yesterday about role playing, okay, which is very important, which is the reason I went into the questions between the questions. Now, the role play is important from a perspective of you want to practice the closest version. Okay. And what I mean by the closest version is I almost set an appointment. Okay. They told me where they wanted to move to, but I just fell flat on my face. I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know how to proceed in that conversation. Okay. They told me, yes, we'd be interested in listing with you, but if you bring me a buyer, that's the only person we're going to sign a contract with. How do we get over that? Okay. We're looking for a realtor that's only going to charge me 1%. We're looking to hire the same realtor that we had previously. Okay, we're just going to take the home off the market. We're no longer going to sell. We've made a decision that we're going to actually move somewhere else instead of with what we originally decided. We were looking to buy a brand new home, but that developer no longer is building those homes. How do we pivot from these things? Role play those scenarios, not the cockamamie version of that you got back in 2018, the one time that my dog died and I've been emotional since then and I can't make the move because of that. Okay. Or whatever versions you guys come up with. I hear role plays and it's just like, what in the world? I've never even heard that myself. Okay. The other thing, too, unfortunately, for some of you that don't have role play partners, guess what? You're going to have to practice on the people that you're prospecting. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you want to stay on script. Keep pushing yourself. Stay on script. 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 And keep pushing that conversation forward with each person that you continue to do it. Why do I say it this way? Because some of you have a natural tendency, the moment that something happens, you start to go adrift. That opening is way too long. I'm just going to shorten it. Okay. I have a property for sale right around the corner from you. Do you know of anybody wanting to buy around here? You don't? Okay. Are you thinking about selling yourself? No, you're not. Okay. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. That's not the script. No, no, no. Click. Okay. The one thing is that we have to understand we're always going to be, as long as you're in real estate and you have a real estate license, you're going to be doing some version of prospecting. Now, I'm not saying cold calling. That's not what I'm getting at. Okay. I'm referring to your job, our job as a professional, whether you're in real estate, whether you're selling insurance, whether you're loans, home warranty, whether you sell cars, it doesn't matter. Our job is going to continue to be about prospecting. Okay. And that's going to happen for the rest of our life. You want to work daily on your mindset. This is probably the most undervalued, yet the most important muscle we have. Some of you wake up and you find yourself in a position, another day. Goodness, is it Friday yet? And it's Monday. Right. Or, man, I always do this. Man, I suck. I'm not really good at this stuff. And you find yourself talking to yourself, having this constant negative self talk. Well, guess what? You're right. You're absolutely right. So you have to work on your mindset all the time. What does mindset have to do with prospecting? Everything. Okay. Everything. Because if you don't work on your mindset, what's going to end up showing up? Okay. And I have some clients, they get frustrated, they get annoyed, they get agitated, they go through and like, coach, I'm cool. I'm good. When I'm prospecting, everything is peachy. And I go through and I listen to the call. Yeah. Hey, Bob, yeah, this is Robert. I'm a local realtor. Yeah. We just listed your, I know, I understand. Yeah. I get it. You get a lot of realtors that call you. I know. I'm trying to get this property sold though. Yeah, who do you know that wants to move here into the neighborhood? You don't know of anybody? Uh, I get it. I understand. Well, how about yours? Click. Was there anything in there? But coach, I was trying to use the script. Yeah, I get that. But on a scale of 1 to 10, you're probably like a 4 in terms of energy, enthusiasm. You kind of pushed that extra saltiness on them. Okay. So in that, we have to be careful and constantly work on that. And there are going to be some times where you're calling expires, you're calling for sale by owners, you're knocking on doors, and it's just negative, 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 negative. You call a database. Robert says, "Okay, fine, let me call a database." Oh, you don't want to be on the call list? Goodness gracious. It's barely 9:35. Been told off like 7 times, including my friends and my family. It's gonna happen. Trust me. I think I've had a day or two in the last 25 years like that, almost every month. Right? Where that happens. It happens to the best of us. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be in a position where you just simply pivot. And in that pivoting process, you're going to go through, you're going to go ahead and put your phone down. You're going to go ahead and turn off your computer for a second. And again, depending if who you are, I like to speak to God. Okay. I do a little bit of prayer, do a little bit of meditation. I do a little bit of visualization. And I'll go through and I'll say, you know what? I am a great coach. I am a powerful broker. I'm an amazing team leader. I am a successful realtor. People love working with me. And I get back and I get back on the phones, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's just the way that it is. Okay. But as the saying goes, it's not about how many times we get knocked down, it's about how many times we get back up. Okay. That's the way life is. Okay. Life is not easy. This business, yeah. Okay. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. Now, the other thing I want to make sure that we are all on the same page on is do not, yes, we are on social media for the moment. Do not be on social media while you're prospecting. Don't return calls. Don't do emails. If you were on a listing appointment, would you be checking your phone? Okay. How many likes did I get on my last post? Right. Let me get my updates real quick on my social media feed. Hey, let me check my email. Let me check my text messages. You wouldn't do that. So don't do that to yourself. So when you're in a position, you're prospecting, again, I'm not saying you're talking about cold calling. I'm just simply talking about our job of having communication with the world and having conversations. We need to be in a very strong minded position. And in that strong minded position is what's going to allow us to get more and more and more results. So I don't want you to be on your phone. I don't want you to have social media. I don't want you to have a computer. And I already know what happens. I tell this to 100 of you, and I already know, even if you're prospecting, 90% of you are going to be doing this. Okay. You might as well walk on the treadmill with some Cheetos. Okay. Might as well. It's the same thing. Okay. Some of you will get results. I get it. I understand. Some of you are a little bit stronger from that perspective. But don't put yourself in a position where you have all of these extra distractions, and it's going to happen. Okay. All right. So we got about 5 minutes left. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you guys are dealing with, feel free to just go ahead and throw them in. What are some things that you guys are having challenges with when it comes time to prospecting in general? Anything from a mindset standpoint? I'm not talking about specifically with Just Listed, but any challenges you guys are dealing with picking up the phones? Because I know that that happens from time to time. Anybody?
No, not necessarily the picking up the phone and getting going with
Hmm.
that, but this is off topic. But
Sure.
would you still go on a listing appointment if they cut you short during the prequel? They just don't have the time,
Hmm.
and it just kind of throws you off a little bit when they don't want you, they don't have time for you to ask all of the questions. And I know
Mm,
I get it with the younger generation. They want to text everything and,
yeah.
just text me, just text me. It's like, no, I'm not
Mm,
just texting you.
yep.
I need, you
Mm,
to answer these questions.
yeah. To answer
What's a
your
better
question
time
though,
to give you a call back?
yeah,
Huh?
would I go? Absolutely. But there is some questions I need to ask you to make sure that I'm not just giving you a blanket statement. What's the source?
Say that again. I'm
What's the
sorry.
source? Where did this one in specific?
Oh, this
Mhm.
was like maybe no, I'm sorry, a 3 month old expired.
Okay, so an older expired. Are they currently, or when they came off market, were they reasonably priced in terms of the comparisons?
You know what, Robert.
Mhm.
So she called me back. I had moved on. She didn't answer, but she picked up. So I
Mhm.
had moved on from her listing.
Okay.
She called me back. Hey, I missed a call. I'm like, yeah, well, if I called you, it was probably because, I'm
Mhm.
a realtor and your home came up as an old expired.
Mhm.
So didn't even have her information in front of me. I
Okay.
was going to go back and do the research.
Well,
This just happened not too long ago.
okay, well, but the question is, would you still go on the appointment? And at this
Right.
point in time, since you didn't have the information in front of you, when you went back to go look at the information, what was the previous asking price? What did they come
I
out to?
have not gone back yet. This
Okay,
literally just happened. Yeah.
okay, cool, awesome. So what I would do, the very first thing is I would go back and take a look at the price and see, okay, they came off the market at 850,000. You go and run
Okay.
comps, and you're looking at 810, 820, 830. It's within a shot. But if you run comps and all of a sudden you see 655,
Yeah.
720, 735, and they're asking for 850, absolutely not. I wouldn't waste
Gotcha.
my time at that point. Okay. What I would do is I'd let somebody else take it, and then I'd go be plan B in this, or in this case, plan C as an option.
Because I couldn't even pre-qualify her, and then I was like, "Well, I'll give you a
Mm,
call." She's like, "Just text me." I'm
okay.
like,
Yeah.
"No."
Yeah, but let's say it is within reason because I want to equip you because there is a good possibility that this could come together. Now, if it is
Okay.
within reason, you go to that appointment as planned, and what you're going to start with is going to be the pre-qualification. Aqua, I didn't get a chance to ask you some of these questions before I get
Yes.
into my presentation. Let me go ahead and confirm a couple of things, and you go through, you pick up with where you left off.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't want to just show up to the presentation and just go into the presentation because the purpose of the prequel is one of two things. Number one is identifying their motivation, which is going to be a lot of the things
Right.
that's going to push you forward. And number two is going to be the objections because the objections is where we get stuck at. The
Yeah.
objections are, well, my cousin was the previous realtor. Well, the last realtor did it for 1%. I'm not looking to hire a realtor for more than 30 days. Those are the things that we don't have answers to. So we need to get that in advance, especially the motivation, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Shelly, I think you were going to ask a question.
No, I
Hmm.
changed my mind.
No worries. All right. So we are pretty much at time. So I do want to take a minute to say thank you guys. Today's class, the expired mastery class, I actually have a conflicting item that I need to attend to. So we're not going to do that. I'm going to push that over to next month. Okay. So we'll start the month with the expired mastery because that's going to be with what we're going to be focusing on next, anyways. So we'll go into the expired mastery class at 12 o'clock, which again is not going to happen today. So I'm going to go ahead and get that class canceled. So I will see everybody tomorrow, okay, 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern. Thank you guys for continuing to show up. I'm going to encourage you right now, ask of you just one thing. I'm continuing to work on growing of the audience. Yesterday, we finally hit 60 people with all the platforms, which is super duper exciting. I appreciate that. Just think of one person, just one person that you can invite to tomorrow and send them a text right now, as soon as we hang up in 30 seconds, and say, hey, you got to join this class with me tomorrow. Okay. If you can do me that solid, I really would appreciate that. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go take a listing or five, and I'll see you guys then. Talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern. Make sure you invite somebody. And again, I'm going to encourage you. You don't have to show your face over on Zoom. It just gives us the opportunity so you can actually see the script. So thank you guys for being with us. I'll see you guys on the next one.